Let's play football.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back on a very unfamiliar territory to the World of Football podcast. I am, in fact, taking over Josh tonight on my channel. Get well soon, Josh. I believe you've got a virus, man. So hope you get well soon. And we can't wait to see you back on the channel as normal next week, on your channel, with the World of Football podcast. Very thanks to the two gentlemen who are joining me tonight at the last minute. It is really appreciated, and getting on to talk about some absolutely mental business over the weekend in the World Cup, and one very, very important thing. That's all I'll say. But first of all, we are going to get onto the guests. So first of all, I've got to welcome in our regular, of course, Mr. Reece Russell. How are you doing, mate? Hope you've had a good week, and have you been enjoying the football, or in particular the World Cup?
Oh, I've 100% been enjoying the football. What's that old saying? It was on the tip of my tongue. Oh, that's it. C'est no rentre à la maison. It's not coming home. But there you go. See, I'm a man of culture. I'm a man of language. So c'est no rentre à la maison. It's not coming home. But you never know. It could be going to Paris.
It could be.
It could go to Morocco. It could go to the Balkans. They could do with a little bit of that right now. Or who knows? It could end up back with the RGs for the third time.
It could very well indeed. And
I'm very well. Thanks for having me back on.
Superb. It is very surprising. Well, first of all, the four teams in the semi-final, really glad to see each of them there, and it goes to show how shocking this World Cup has been, but we'll get onto that in a little bit. And to my right, well, my left, your right, of course, a very, very massive thank you and welcome to the legends that is Douglas Horne from the Dugout Football channel. Thank you so much for joining us tonight at such short notice as well. I understand you've got to be on a stream at 9, so we'll try our best to cover as much as we can in the meantime. And if anyone else wants to join us tonight as well, you are more than welcome to. Just send me a DM on Twitter and I will be there sharpish. So, Douglas, how are you doing? Have you been enjoying the World Cup? And yeah, are you ready to get this show started?
Yeah, I am. Thank you very much for having me. It's good to be back. Actually, I've really enjoyed. You've been enjoying this World Cup very, very much. So, but really enjoying covering it as well. So it's been a very, very good tournament. I'm sad it ends on Sunday, but all good things come to an end. But I think we've got the right 4 semi-finalists, I have to say, as well.
Absolutely. Just going to give a few welcomes in the chat. So welcome in to Mr. James Dunlop. Hope you're having a good one, mate. And welcome into the legends. That is Curtis the Jack. Hope you're having a good one too. What is going on? I'm temporarily taking host of the World of Football podcast. It is usually on Josh's channel. However, due to circumstances, get well soon, Josh. I will be hosting it temporarily tonight. Not sure if George Carl will be joining us. However, I will keep you updated on that one. And obviously, George, join us if you wish. Hoping you can actually join tonight. But if you can't, then hopefully see you soon anyway. And also welcome into Matt CCFC Gaming. Hope you're having a good one as well, mate. So the first topic, Mr. Russell, take it away.
I thought it was coming home.
I think we all did as well.
I never once did. I gave them quarterfinals. I was generous, but it was. What's the humor behind it? It's the same thing over and over with England, and you know when you get to that certain point in your life where you hate to sound like a broken record. I quite like the fact it continues to happen. I quite love the fact but I think we can all agree, and then even everyone in the chat, I think everyone can agree, this England team is actually a very good football team. Like they are a good football team. But from a Scottish perspective, from an Irish, from rest of the world, from the Welsh, like there's one thing, respectfully, that we all have in common when it comes to England. We don't hate their football team. We don't hate the football team. We hate the media and the English government.
Thank you.
Right? We don't hate. None of us here hates the England football team. I don't hate Marcus Rashford when he plays for England. I don't hate Luke Shaw when he plays for England. Harry Maguire, very questionable. Don't like him anyway. But I don't hate them when they go to play for England. But they represent a nation who has given a lot of hell historically that cannot be forgiven. As much as you want to forgive it, even if it's the past, present, future, it's not. It just doesn't happen. And to be honest, James, when Giroud scored, I was buzzing because obviously it's a Milan player as well, but it's ex-Chelsea, it's ex-Arsenal. It's bittersweet, especially with the people that fought coming into the tournament saying it's Griezmann, it's Mbappe, it's Ousmane Dembele. Like, yeah, they're all great players. Griezmann was the best player in the field, and we'll come to him very soon. He was by far the best player in the field for me.
100%.
But Giroud makes it tick. Like, there's just something about him on a field that's absolutely brilliant. And when he scored, fantastic. So I'm not bothered that Donatello didn't score. That's what I call Kylian Mbappe. I'm not bothered that Donatello didn't score. He was already a nightmare anyway, and that movement past Kyle Walker was absolutely exquisite. But just in general, I don't hate the England team. I just hate what they represent. So I'm glad they are no longer in the tournament. But, and I will say this out of the kindness of my own heart, which is very rare, if England had beaten France, I think they might have won the World Cup. I will be very honest. I think if they did beat France, I don't think any other team in the tournament would actually realistically beat them. Because I don't think, as good as Morocco have been, I think that England team, they seem to strive to a level where it's Morocco or not that sort of level as them. They are the Senegal-esque level, and that's no disrespect. But that is what England thrive against. England would probably beat them 3 or 4-0, even though they've only conceded 1 goal in the tournament. And that's no disrespect to Morocco. Argentina, there's a lot of pride, there's a lot of history there. But there's also that additure as well, where it's that Falklands oppression. You would have that representation in a World Cup final. Regardless of Messi, I still think England may actually would have actually done them in. And Croatia, nobody can really tell. But in retrospect, I think if you did look at the quarterfinalists who are now progressed to the final, it's the semi-finals. It's the right 4 teams, but you would say from an honest football fan's perspective, the winner of the World Cup is most likely to have come from the England versus France game, regardless of your personal opinion on each nation. But the best thing is, though, is they're gone. So, sayonara. Absolutely. But other than that, I actually think throughout the tournament, I thought they actually played some really good football. They were actually they were generally one of the most exciting teams in the tournament, which says a lot, really. But resorting to type, even if it didn't change formation, Southgate was still doing the same substitutions. I will give him credit on one thing, though, he did in the tournament, which I didn't expect. He did match Deschamps system for system. A lot of people had him to go for the back 5. I thought it was very bold of him to actually stick with the back 4, showing he's got faith in his team to play the 4-3-3 throughout the tournament. I think he deserves that credit. But once again, he's got his substitutions wrong. He didn't capitalise when they were on top. Personally, once they got the first goal, the equaliser, personally, I think he may have been at best to have done a substitution. But even though it was so early in the game, once France got that second goal as well, they weren't really doing anything. And it says it all, really, that he didn't react quick enough after the first penalty. He didn't react after the second either with Harry Kane. If you want to win these tournaments, you need to react with substitutions, and it shows again why Didier Deschamps is the only man to ever beat Gareth Southgate in a knockout tie in 90 minutes. He's the only man to do it because he understood that Southgate was not going to change things. He did. His substitutions were fantastic. The setup was brilliant. Moving Mbappe from the left wing to the right wing to get Kingsley Coman on, genius. There was so many ways around that where he could have done. Even like Rabiot, good game. As much as I like Theo Hernandez, he would have been in my team of the tournament. He's in question of that. Obviously, I gave Doug my team of the tournament today. he's in that consideration, but he had a very bad game against England. He needs to redeem himself against Morocco. But his pace on that left wing gave them a lot of questionable decisions. I'm going to say as well, I don't think that was a penalty. And that's not because of bias. I don't think it's a penalty. It's a shoulder barge for me. The stupidity of Lee Dixon saying he's not trying to play the ball. He's looking at Mason Mount's movement. He's not going to anticipate the ball. I don't think any defender realistically in that position is going to anticipate the movement of the ball, especially when it's overhead. His decision there as a left back is purely, I'm shutting out Mason Mount. For me, it wasn't a penalty, very questionable, but even more surprising is the fact that Harry Kane skied it. I'm glad he missed, but even I didn't expect him to do it. Like that is probably the shock of the tournament. Harry Kane skying a penalty. I think it's still travelling, but who knows? But very, very surprised that he did. But there's people that call Harry Kane world class. There's people that don't call Harry Kane world class, and you're entitled to your opinion. I don't think he's world class, and the reason I don't think he's world class is that penalty miss. World class players will decide games or make a big difference when it matters. He scored the first penalty when it mattered. They need to get back into the game. He missed the decisive penalty that would have taken it to extra time. That is why I do not think he's world class. He is a very good striker. Take that from what I'm saying. Harry Kane is a very good striker. But is he world class? In my opinion, no. And in the end, the difference, the Giroud header, brilliant cross by Griezmann. I thought it was a very good game. I like the fact that both teams were at each other. England were the better team in spells as well. I thought Bukayo Saka was outstanding. But I don't think they had any other ways to actually get past the French defence. I think there's also a few VAR and referee decisions as well that may have to be questioned again. And that's for both teams, to be fair. Like, I'm not going to be totally biased in this one. I think France and England both had questionable decisions. Not the penalty. I don't think it was. I think it was a free kick. But there was some very questionable decisions on both sides that should have realistically been looked at. But other than that, very entertaining game. And for me, the right team won. Absolutely, in French.
They absolutely did. Just turning to you, Douglas. As Reece has mentioned, with the way that they have been obviously playing, very impressive throughout this World Cup. However, just obviously falling short of France. But one thing I've got to touch on, and we've seen it a lot, is the sheer hype, in particular from the media. And we saw it in the bias as well, coming from, I won't name names, but the television provider that was presenting the England-France game as well, which I thought was utterly shambolic. And in particular with the overhype, I've got to mention is, yes, it could be skewed by a lot of draws and also England doing very well to grind out results. But I would like to quickly mention England's World Cup wins since 2006. So Tunisia, Panama, Colombia, Sweden, Slovenia, Paraguay, Trinidad and Tobago, Ecuador, Iran, Wales, and Senegal. All of those England wins since 2006. Is this a sheer overhype of England and the way they've been playing, or in particular by the media, and in particular as a few? I'll get onto the comments in a moment. Sorry, I haven't looked at them just yet, guys. Is it an overhype in the media, or say, for example, are the England fans being a little bit fickle, backing the team, saying, "Oh, it's coming home. We're going to win the World Cup. We've been playing absolutely amazing. We've smashed Trinidad and Tobago 6-0, or we destroyed Iran in the group stages." Yet they'll turn to Southgate out the next moment. Is it a sheer overhype, or does something really need to be developed here? That is the question.
I think you've hit the nail on the head. I think when it comes to the games that really matter, the big teams that they faced, Germany they lost, France they've lost now I think twice. I know they hadn't played since like Euro 2004 anyway, but yeah. When it comes to these big games, they always seem to lose. I've got to be honest. I thought that game on Saturday was one of the best of the tournament. I thought England played. I think that's the best I've seen England play in a quarter final without really, almost without losing. Like, I know they lost, but that referee my God, like the fact that he's actually staying in the tournament just says it all for me. Wilton Pampio, I think is his name. He was awful. He was shocking. He really, really was. I've got to say as well, I thought some of the decisions were wrong. I mean, I don't think it's a penalty on Kane. I think it's a free kick outside the box. I think the contact started outside the box. I think it's a foul on Saka for the first goal. Like Germany, fantastic strike. We have to say that. I do think as well. I think Kane. Obviously the penalty that they do get Saka, that is definitely a penalty. The other one, I'm not so sure that's a penalty. I think it's more of a shoulder barge kind of
I agree.
move. So
Yeah,
I don't think that was a penalty. But the other
one thing I did hate. Sorry, to cut you in there, Doug. There's one other thing I particularly hated about that shoulder barge movement is England fans are doing what the Portuguese did to them in 2006 with Rooney when they got him sent off. They are trying to get Hernandez sent off for nothing.
Yes.
Like I'm glad the referee had at least some sense. If that was given as a red, I'd be very, very questionable more about the officiating because, if it's a penalty, fine. I personally disagree with it, but in no way, shape, or form is that denying a goal scoring opportunity. Even though Lee Dixon claims to be a defender, he needs to go to his fucking Specsavers, and that's rich coming from me, I know. But it says a lot when they are like, "Oh, let's just get him sent off." It's not a red card offence.
And that's a good reason to go into that. The double jeopardy rule, like that has been removed completely. Like, if it's a goal scoring opportunity, then yes, okay, I can understand if it's a goal scoring opportunity. But if you look at the height of the ball was coming in, Mason Mount's never getting that header. Like he's never ever getting that header. Like this is the thing as well that I've seen a lot of England sort of fans say. England played well. Let's just get a bit. Let's be honest. They played well this World Cup.
I agree.
They had some fantastic players. Like Bellingham has been a revelation for them. I think Henderson is a different player. Like
Declan Rice has been superb.
Declan Rice, yeah. England need leaders in their team, and I think Jordan Henderson being there helped them. I think him being there helped them. Also, I think Bellingham. When Kane misses that penalty, I think it's absolutely brilliant what he does. Basically goes over to him and says, don't worry. That is a captain in waiting right there, Jude Bellingham. Yeah, there's a captain in waiting right there.
6 years he'll be captain of England, calling it right now.
But I have to say that
possibly,
as much as France have been, I wouldn't say they've been great, because in all the games, I don't think they haven't really sort of impressed me one bit.
I think they've only had one good game in the tournament, and that was the last 16. Yeah,
Poland, they were fabulous. But I think England will look back on this tournament and say, okay, Iran 6-2, that was a good result. USA, lucky to not lose that one. Wales, I've got to be honest, that first half just bored me to death. Obviously, sorry to any of us England and Wales. And then they took over after that, again, that early goal. And then Senegal, I was disappointed how Senegal played. I thought Senegal would be much more of a threat to England, but they weren't. But as soon as they come up against somebody difficult, like France, like the current world champions, of course, they always seem to fluff up. And I think that's the best that they played, but they need to get out of this habit of overhyping themselves, because as you said on that list there, how many of those would a Sweden beat a Southgate? Probably not.
No.
A Sweden would have probably beaten Hodgson's team. Let's be honest. Yeah. I think England are a much, much better side now than they were ever under Roy Hodgson. I think a couple of teams in there, I think you would probably argue would probably beat Hodgson's England. Sweden's obviously one of them as well, but
they beat McLaren's team. They beat McLaren's team.
Yeah, definitely. But I think England are definitely a lot better now, and I think going into 2026, there's a lot of players in that team that will be coming into their prime.
Yes,
Bellingham, Rice,
Calvin Phillips.
Calvin Phillips, yeah. I mean, Harvey Elliott potentially as well. They have some very, very good players coming up to England. So I think the future is bright, but I don't think Southgate will be there by 2026. I think Southgate knows that his time is up, and I think it's time to pass the baton on to someone more experienced.
I think he might pass on, but I've just got a funny feeling. I said this to you the day. I think he gets the Euros in Germany.
I think he will as well. Just quickly leading from that, I would like to touch on the penalty decision that you just made from my getting my opinion sort of across. So in terms of the Saka one, I think it was just a penalty. For me, sort of a footballing instant, but at the end of the day, did trip. Was contact made, so that is a penalty for me and also a booking. In terms of the Mason Mount one, I do think, yes, there was contact made, but he did absorb a lot of the shoulder barge. Was it a yellow card for me? No. However, it was very borderline. So, in my opinion, shoulder barge, he was the bigger man. It was always going to happen. Absorbed it, so no penalty. Yeah. Just going to very quickly touch on a few of you guys' comments. It's coming home 1 minute, then after the loss, Southgate out. Absolutely. Welcoming Curtis, of course. Coventry away for us on Saturday. I will flip out if Gyökeres scores. Honestly, I don't blame you. The amount of times that man has scored against us is unbelievable, and the amount of cucumbers after eating about it. If you want to come on the podcast, mate, just hit me up on Twitter, and absolutely, we'd love to have you on. I did tell my brother and mate it wasn't coming home. Not going to lie, I did have a smile when Giroud scored. Lol, brilliant. Argentina was put down to win the World Cup. We will get on to Argentina in a minute. What a game that was, by the way, including a very shock from Morocco, which we very well saw coming too. One of the absolute biggest dark horses of the tournament. England, I thought, didn't play bad the other night, but the penalty miss and Southgate didn't react quick enough with his subs to fully change the game. I agree on that. I do think he should have made changes a lot earlier. Rashford should have come on far, far sooner, especially for Harry Kane as well. Bring a few fresh legs in. I think Croatia, France final again. That would be boring, as of course Curtis the True Jack has said.
Yeah.
I'm no England fan, but those are giving us pens these days. I know. Welcoming BBL up down a good one, by the way. On the second penalty, I can see why the ref gave it. To be fair, it was good that he went straight to VAR. Because if he didn't, then I would have been extremely concerned, because you could tell that you would have just given it straight to England. Well done to the referees. And refereeing has mostly been positive, I think, in this tournament. However, we will get on to it later with some disastrous decisions. Isn't there a stat with England? Yes. That is concerning, but funny. Yeah. Never a red card offence, not a chance. Absolutely. Yep. Scotland never caught a time, and neither will. I don't know about Ireland. They got their golden generation coming through for me.
I think Ireland have got something cooking, and I wouldn't be. And I like the fact he says Scotland will never qualify. Like, look at our team. Like, our team's actually maturing really well. I think I'd give a little bit more respect on that. But then again, we expect these kind of comments, so more the merrier.
Absolutely. Same in a way with Wales. And in particular, I don't know why people stand with Ireland so much. For me, Mr. Kenny needs to go. The second you get rid of him, of course, I just don't back his international experience at all. And when I've seen him, especially when we trashed him 4-0, absolutely terrible. Moving on, bring a young, experienced coach in. Ireland will get to tournaments, trust me. France overall haven't been amazing, very true. But then again, it's the curse, isn't it? But they do what all good sides do. They find a way to win games without playing amazing. Absolutely.
The curse is no more. The curse is no more. Like, they've already proved that. It's really annoying that they've done a Conte. Like, Conte started the Juventus run, Conte ends the Juventus run. France start the World Cup curse, France end the World Cup curse. It's really fucking annoying.
I completely agree. I would like to touch on that. Yes, that kind of is true, but then again, English fans, look, what have we seen all over Twitter since the start of the tournament? Scotland,
you come after us for no reason. Exactly, and like
just the general. What I got absolutely ripped to it after the England-Wales game. The one thing I called out was English arrogance, in particular in the media and a lot of fan bases. I got trounced online. Yeah, we saw it after the France loss as well. When they beat Senegal, they thought they were the best thing since sliced bread. And ever since then, they have just been throwing their toys out the pram.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I get it
don't agree with
tenfold.
that comment.
I get it tenfold purely because that's not just like Scottish in my blood. You've got Italian and you got German, so I got that. But you don't see me caring. Like I've actually said this for the since England got eliminated from the World Cup, I've not made one single slander comment, which is rare for me. Normally I slander them, but I'm like, is there something else where, you know what, I just don't care. Like they've been eliminated. Like good, they're gone, but I don't need to. No, they're not.
I have to put one there. I had to put that there. So, just before we move on, I have got a 3-part question for each of the three of you. A, will Southgate survive until the next tournament, or will he walk? B, when will he walk if he doesn't? And C, who will be his current replacement? Douglas.
I think he will resign very soon. I don't know who it's going to be though. Like I've seen like Pochettino being mentioned, but for me, I think Thomas Tuchel is the ready-made replacement. Apparently, the FA are ready to approach Brendan Rodgers as well, which is a bit weird.
I don't think that will happen.
No, I don't either. So for me, I think it's Thomas Tuchel.
Reece?
I don't want to see them get Tuchel, but I understand the links to that. But I do think he gets another tournament, but he gets another tournament, he's going to do the exact same thing. Southgate doesn't learn from his mistakes, and it just shows where you've got such a good crop of talent coming through. He overlooks players in leagues where like English players are actually thriving. Like Marcus Edwards is thriving in the Portuguese league. Fikayo Tomori is one of the best English centre-backs. Overlooked. Like, it's clear and evident that he doesn't appreciate players in these European leagues at all. Like, the furthest he's going to go is maybe the French league, maybe the Bundesliga, but he doesn't look anywhere else. I think he will get another tournament, but I think the whole thing about England is they just don't understand the concept. There's the deep-root problem for England for winning a tournament is it's going to continue for a very long time. It's deep psychological, and there's a lot of good English fans, but they're also the problem. They're also a problem, and once they recognise that, it will actually get better. Look at what happened the minute they got beat by France. Bukayo Saka immediately racially abused on social media.
Disgusting.
That sums them up for me. The immediate response. It wasn't 5 minutes after the game. It wasn't an hour. It was a minute.
Rashford got the same as well.
Yeah, they back them going into the tournament. All the support, we're behind them, like the lot. The minute something happens, that's it. And I'm like, that's another problem. You don't see the Germans doing it to the German team. You don't see the Spanish doing it to their team. You don't see, you don't even see like the Brazilians doing it. They just get behind their players. Like they'll be like, well, the next tournament, like roll on. But like, it's a fundamental issue that has to be like changed. And how they do that, I don't know. But it says it all where there's like that. It's fake. It's that fake support towards their own players where they claim they're behind them, but the minute something happens, like they abuse them, and it's horrible. It's horrible to see that.
Before we move on, I would just like to say we did not brand every England fan as racist. That is a ridiculous comment. Anyway, moving on.
I said there are some.
So there was
not all of them.
And you're talking about less than 1%.
But like, the worst thing is
genuine England fans. There's a lot of passionate and arrogant ones. But for me, it stems from the media. But swiftly moving on. Anyway, Argentina against the Netherlands. So Argentina scraped through on penalties. By the way, what a penalty shootout it was. And in general, what a game. It had the fieriness of it. It had the red cards. It had a bit of everything. Argentina, a bit complacent. Messi bailing them out again. I will have to say, though, Argentina just edging it as the better team. Molina, of course, getting that early goal. Weghorst getting 2 goals as well. That shocked everyone. Douglas, first of all, to start, wow, that free kick at the end, which sort of escalated everything. Where do we start with that one?
It's absolutely genius. I mean that's obviously been worked on the training ground. It was absolutely genius. I think there was a similar goal. I think Argentina scored against England. I think
1998 World Cup.
yeah, that so there was obviously that, but no, that's really genius. For me, that was game of the tournament. I absolutely thoroughly enjoyed watching that as a watch along. It was absolutely amazing game.
At
Um,
everything. At everything.
I've got to say that going into that game, like I wasn't sort of worried like about obviously like Argentina, like obviously I didn't see them going 2-0 up and then obviously being pegged back. I didn't see that happening, but I mean that referee lost the absolute plot. He lost the plot. I think he's been sent home as well as a result of that. He deserves it. 17 yellows and 1 red card.
Yep.
Now it's not quite the Battle of Nuremberg, against Portugal. We all remember that. But it was getting closer and closer to that. I mean, Denzel Dumfries was sent off at the I think straight after the penalties. I think he squared up to Scaloni. I think so. He was sent off. But what I don't get is I think Paredes was lucky to stay on the pitch because that tackle was dreadful on Nathan Ake. And then obviously it all started. He battered the ball, I think, in the Holland crowd, the Holland dugout, and then all of a sudden, everything ensured mayhem. But I have to say, I think Van Gaal did make the subs at the right time. I think it was brave to bring Memphis off. I'll be honest. I thought Memphis was having an okay game. Bergwijn didn't really see Bergwijn. That was a bit of an interesting one to start him as well. But Argentina get through, and it's exactly the same scoreline in the penalties as it was in 2014.
Absolutely. To touch on a few things before that, absolutely not. I've got to say, it's a very, very, very small minority of fans who do actually want Rob Page out. James saying, for me, this game was game of the tournament. It had everything. I fully enjoyed it so much. World Cup, do your thing. Top it. Will we have a World Cup final just as good as in 2018 when had all the excitement, penalties, goals, and Mbappe stealing the show? Absolutely superb. Just as you were saying, Doug, what was Paredes doing, giving the free kick away that led to the lead goal? Stupid, really, really stupid foul in the D of the box. And then that referee, well, considering refereeing performances, I'd say it's wholly been good in the group stage. VAR has pretty much done okay, but leading into the knockouts, it has started to just fall apart. FIFA need to get a grips of it and really clamp down and give these referees threats and warnings and everything just to make sure that the refereeing standards stay top notch. But as for Argentina, Reece, did they set it up correctly? Because at times I did think they do look a bit shaky. And if they, say, for example, go into this game now, I believe they are playing Croatia, aren't they? Yes, they are. If they go into this Croatia game with a bit too much confidence, thinking, okay, they're going to win the game, just sort of play with high tempo and confidence, and not being sort of arrogant against Croatia, thinking that they can't counter-attack and do Croatia's usual damage as they do. Do they need to guard this, or what do you reckon? What do they need to watch?
I think what they realistically need to do is take Croatia out of their comfort zone, force that midfield. Yeah. Like, they need to force that midfield wide as hell. Like, that midfield, Brozovic, Modric, and Kovacic, they are so tight together as a fray that they're so narrow, which forces teams to drag them. Don't let them drag you. You drag them out, because it will then force Vardyl to come forward. Vardyl's a good defender anyway, but you force him forward, that will leave space. But the likes of Souza and Barisic, depending who plays left back, it then gives you a chance to play against, perhaps, in my opinion, the best right back at the tournament, in Juranovic. Get behind him. But it then gives the opportunity for to be fair, they've not been great. The Argentine fullbacks to try and push up, I do think they need to look at changing the fullbacks. Personally, I don't think Molina and Acuna's actually been good. The good thing is at least Acuna's suspended for the semi-final, so it gives Tagliafico a chance. But
He deserves it for me.
I think Montiel needs to start personally at right back, or even if they play a 3-4-3, play Montiel as a right wing back. He does well in that role for Sampioli at Sevilla. I think ideally they need to change things up a little bit as well. I think they should go 3-4-3, and it gives them that back three to deal with the Croatian front three, but also gives them the ability to just push wide on the wing backs. I would play Enzo Fernandez 100% in that midfield. Who you play beside him is very questionable, but the front three, one of them has to be Di Maria. As much as I don't like Di Maria, how he did not get on the field is baffling. Like, he should have been involved. I think if Di Maria actually got on, Di Maria would have actually decided the game a lot sooner than Argentina. Obviously, they got to the shootout. I think they have to go as much. Alvarez has been fantastic at the tournament, but I think they need to start Lautaro Martinez. I would play Messi and Di Maria either side of Lautaro Martinez against Croatia. I think you have to go with your best and more experienced front three. It will force Croatia into making mistakes. You play Alvarez against them, he might do something, but you're better off doing it against tired legs. Have Lautaro start from the off. He's a big game striker. This is a big game. He will come into his own. It will give Messi a chance to maybe prove some doubters as well, because he's not let up the tournament at times as well. He's had some good games, but he's not been great. But I don't think the back four is realistically working for them. I thought Scaloni playing a 3-5-2 was genius. Like, that really changed things up. That caught Van Gaal by surprise, but I think they have to do it, but they need to get width in there. So I would say 3-4-3 and just get as much possession of the ball and just break at Croatia as much as they can and force that midfield wide. If you force them wide, they're in trouble. They are in trouble.
Absolutely, indeed. I think we've pretty much got through the rest of the comments. Anything further to add, Doug? Or
I think we all kind of remember the last game between Croatia and Argentina. Croatia absolutely spanked them 3-0. So we need to wait and see. But I think Reece is right. I think the fullbacks have not been impressed with at all. Acuna has been average. I mean, Molina got the goal. Fair play to him. I mean, I think it was a bit of genius by Scaloni to play 3-5-2 against Van Gaal's 3-5-2, but. I think the fullbacks are very, very average at best. And I think as well that the fact that they've not been playing Lisandro Martinez is
really annoyed
baffling.
Me.
Absolutely baffling. I think he's Argentina's best defender, if I'm being honest. I think Otamendi has been fabulous in this World Cup. I think he's really, really shown that he is aging very, very well as a defender. But I think if you get Argentina, I think you can get goals past them. Emi Martinez, I think, has been very, very good. It's going to be very, very difficult to pick a goalkeeper at the tournament, because for me, I think the top three are definitely Martinez, Bono, and Livakovic.
100% agree.
Interesting. Anyway, swiftly moving on. What a surprise this was. In particular, Douglas, where did it go wrong for Brazil?
I think they underestimated Croatia. I think they just allowed... Basically, when they scored through Neymar, that was a fabulous goal. I have to say, it was a fabulous goal. But I think they underestimated them. I didn't think they played well. Neymar was so frustrating to watch that day. My day. How many times did he have an opportunity to pass to Richarlison? How many times did he have a pass on to pass to Paqueta or someone like Casemiro, etc.? Holds the ball way too much. Vinicius Junior not in the game. Rafinha not in the game. I thought Croatia played really, really well. Defensively, they were very, very good as well. And obviously Livakovic coming up trumps again in the penalty shootout. But I think Brazil overestimated Croatia. I really do. And I think as well that they have looked okay, Brazil, but I don't think they've not really been their best, I'd have to say, because you look at the games that they played. All right, Switzerland, they sort of sneaked away. That was a great goal by Casemiro. South Korea, 4-1 in the end. Alisson was man of the match that day. That just kind of says, their defense wasn't great. Lost to Cameroon, which we all know what happened with Vincent Abubakar. Took a shirt off, got sent off. I thought it was hilarious. Serbia, they won 2-0. Again, didn't look convincing. I don't think Brazil have looked really that convincing. And if I'm being honest, Alisson has probably been their best player. And that just says it all.
Absolutely. I mean, the one thing I will have to say, I'll just pop James's comment on there just quickly. Looking at the stats, Brazil, 11 shots on target, 21 shots, compared to Croatia's single shot on target, where Petrovic scored in the 117th minute to equalise that. Brazil completely lost the complacency at the end of it, let it through, which allowed Croatia to absolutely destroy them on penalties. Even then, kept it level. Brazil, lethal on the counter-attack, could do nothing in it. Neymar, as he's done many times before, showing his greed on the pitch. Another thing I got to mention, Reece, as well, just looking at the way that Brazil did, I think their substitutes really cost them as well. Because Pedro, Anthony, Rodrigo. I mean, Pedro bringing on for experience, okay. Rodrigo could be an okay one as well. And also Anthony with his performance, well, you'll know him well from, obviously, Manchester United. But
yeah, for
me, like, why leave Bruno Guimaraes on the bench, in particular with his form? An informed Martinelli? Yeah. What's going on there?
I actually do wonder that myself. I thought Bruno Guimaraes would have actually started this game personally. I was very surprised he didn't. It's not because I've got an issue with Fred or nothing or whatever. It's not that. It's just I was very surprised that it didn't happen. I thought he would have given them something as well in that midfield. Martinelli, fairly decent tournament. I can see why you question why he didn't come on. I would have kept Richarlison on for if it was going to end up in a penalty decision. I would never have taken him off. But there's just that really just surprised me. They got eliminated. In terms of a team like Croatia are a good side, but Brazil, no disrespect to Croatia, but Brazil should have just walked through them.
Yeah,
they should have just walked through them. They've got the quality in the team, but they just didn't. They didn't deliver, and it's. Their fullbacks, another thing as well, is just as bad. I don't think Brazil for a while can play back four. I think they're another example. I said it before the start of the tournament. They're another example of a team that have to play 3-4-3. They can't play a back four for a while until they find two top fullbacks for both positions. They just can't do it. It's testament really, but. There's just something. Another thing as well that really determined their tournament for me as well is they're another team that actually, as much as I like Brazil, they're another team that needed a humbling because every time they scored, I didn't mind the celebrations, but it was when they continued to add more time to each celebration. I'm like, are you here to bring back Jogo Bonito, which is great? Or are you here just to embarrass the competition? A World Cup winning team isn't here to embarrass the competition. A World Cup winning team is here to batter the opposition and get the game done. They didn't batter Croatia at all. And it says all that if you look at the very end of the game, which team had the most possession? Croatia.
Yeah. That's another thing as well. That how many times have we known that waiting for the glory penalty at the end is sometimes going to cost you, and it was going to cost Brazil. Neymar waited until the fifth penalty.
That's why Messi's not intelligent.
If you take a penalty,
point.
You basically are one of the first penalty kick takers. You don't wait for the glory. Look what happened when Mane there we go. Mane's a good example. He waited until the goalie penalty, he beated him through. Salah waits until his goalie penalty, doesn't get it because Egypt already missed their,
Ronaldo's
two
done
penalties.
it. Ronaldo's done it as well.
Ronaldo's done it as well. So I think if you're a designated penalty taker, you should take the first penalty.
Yeah, like this is why I've seen a lot of people tweeting about on social media. When should the best player take the penalty? First, third, or fifth? And I said straight away, first or third, because we saw with Messi, like Messi composure really well, takes the penalty, that sets the tone. Messi could have taken it as the third spot kick for Argentina. Like he could have taken the third one, and it still would have set the tone. Because he's responding as well to how they take, like how the Netherlands would have taken their second kick. Martinez, the right choice to take the fifth penalty, but it says it all, like you said about the best player taking the penalty. Neymar is 100% the best penalty taker for Brazil. He should have went first or third, and massively backfired. Titi got it wrong, and the worst thing as well is he's managed two fairly good Brazil teams now in the space of 4 years. Copa America final on home soil, lost to a very questionable Di Maria goal because they didn't defend it. He's now lost the World Cup in the quarterfinal stage.
Yeah.
Is he going to get the Copa America in the US in 2024? I don't think he is.
He's gone.
Is he gone? Did he get sacked?
Yeah.
So who's going to get the Brazil job then? Because there isn't anybody there. They're not going to go back to Scolari, although to be fair, the Dutch do it with Koeman and Van Gaal all the time. It wouldn't surprise me, but it would surprise me if Dunga goes back into the job. Although if that happens, then that's going to be, what's happened if Dunga goes back into the Brazil job. They're not going to play good football. They're going to play tournament football. Like the whole entertaining style is going to be gone. But I look at that Brazil job now, and it's just like the England job. It's so much pressure. It's so much to handle. You need the right type of manager to do it. And I don't actually think there is anybody that can take the Brazil job on. I was surprised Titi's gone. I thought he was still in the job, so thanks for clearing that for me. But he's managed that team really well. It's Neymar's potentially last World Cup as well. His chance to win a World Cup is gone now. That's it. I think you can officially say that Manuel Neuer is officially the third best player of this generation. If Neymar had won the World Cup, I would have said Neymar then Neuer. I'm still saying now it's Neuer Neymar because Neuer's done it all, and that's the real difference for me. But it's just like the England job. It's just like even the Spain job now as well. Like Enrique's gone, like which is interesting. It's going to be De La Fuente, the under-21 coach, but these jobs are so big, they're so key. Who has that mentality to go and do it? And I don't know who can do the Brazil job now. I really don't.
Can we just say as well that Croatia fans at the start of the tournament said their biggest weak link was Dejan Lovren. He hasn't put a foot wrong whole tournament.
Yeah, probably the biggest surprise of the tournament for me. Ever since his Liverpool days, I've always written off him. Just because of some of his obviously you'll know best some of his shambolic performances in Champions League semi-finals, in particular the one against Roma rings a bell. Both of the legs terrible, and in particular just poor individual performances in those big moments and just that lack of consistency. However, the one stat I will have to mention is, and I find this absolutely astonishing, Brazil have been eliminated from 4 of their last 5 World Cup quarterfinals. In addition, Brazil have been eliminated from each of their last 6 World Cup knockout stage games against European nations since a 2-0 victory over, guess who? You'll love this one, Reece. Germany in the 2002 final.
Yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
And as for the managerial situation, just my opinion, I think they've got to go domestic. Because obviously they will know it well. Don't give it to a big name, because as we've seen many times in the past, it will come back to haunt Brazil. Go domestic, it'll surprise you. Trust me on this one if there's any Brazil fans watching.
You know what might surprise me? And this is a crazy thing because obviously he got binned.
Yeah.
He got binned from PSG over his director of football antics, but he actually coached a fairly good AC Milan team. I would not be surprised if Leonardo was considered for the job.
That's a shout.
And I even though he ruined AC Milan as a director, that AC Milan team that he managed after Ancelotti, if Pato hadn't obviously got horribly injured, he was managing Pato, Ibrahimovic at times as well. No, actually, no, he didn't. Sorry, he missed out on that. But he managed Beckham, he managed Pato, he managed Ronaldinho, he managed a man, I'm not going to say his name because of what he's done to women in particular, but you know who I'm talking about, another flair player. But like, he's done that. I actually think he could get something out of that Brazil team. Will he get the job? I don't think so. I think they're probably going to go to somebody who's already been in the job before.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if the next Brazil manager again is Dunga, but I wouldn't mind seeing something crazy. I wouldn't mind them going for Leonardo. He's a World Cup winner as well. He actually coaches a good style of play. But has he been? But he hasn't been in a job for a while. It would be like United with Rangnick. It would be that sort of thing as well. Like a manager, obviously, I do like. I dislike Leonardo as a director of football, but as a coach, I do like him. I think that would be a wise move. But I don't know when was the last time he coached a team. That's my only thing. I think it might have been AC Milan. It has been a very long time, but there's no shame in going for Leonardo. But
Absolutely.
I do agree it'd be a bit domestic approach. It'd be interesting, but I don't really know any other Brazilian coaches. I only know like the few that have already been in the job beforehand. The likes, obviously TT's now gone, but Dunga, Scolari, like there isn't anybody else, which is baffling. They could go left field though. I mean, how bizarre would it be though? I mean, he's been linked to the Uruguay job. How bizarre would it be if Marcelo Bielsa takes the Brazil job?
That would be an insane appointment.
Like it would. Like I think they should go. I don't see. This is the thing about certain. There's some managers don't have international loyalty. It's not because they don't like their country. It's they value the work of their play. Like Sampaoli, he done Chile, even though he's Argentinian.
Yeah.
Like obviously, Carlos Queiroz has done every country he can get his hands on, even though he's Portuguese and he's coached his own country. Scolari has done Portugal and Brazil. I wouldn't mind seeing Marcelo Bielsa taking the Brazil job. I think it suits those faster young wingers as well, where they want to work hard. They'd be very scary under him. Very scary.
Absolutely. First of all, another thing as well. Shemai, Mr. Prev Windog, Mr. Mark Firebreak Drakeford, welcome in, and that is indeed a glorious title. Hope you are very well, sir. And yeah, Merry Christmas. That's all I will say. Apart from that, moving swiftly on, Reece, you're going to absolutely love this title. Goodbye, Cristiano Ronaldo. Portugal, very shockingly and deservedly, in my opinion, going out to the underdogs, of course, all of the tournament, Morocco, and in fact, the first African nation to reach the semi-finals as well. Yes, they only had 26% possession, but boy, did they deserve every bit of it. Reece, Morocco, they set it up perfectly. El-Nesri was absolutely superb. Ziyech was superb as well. Wow. Just wow. What a performance it was from Morocco to turn out a result like that. And were Portugal correct for keeping Cristiano Ronaldo on the bench and crashing out of the World Cup?
For the first, I thought the decision to do it in the last 16 was clever because it was a game that I don't think realistically benefited Ronaldo, to be fair. I don't think it did. This game, on the other hand, against a defence where he can actually get through, this game actually suited Cristiano Ronaldo. I think Santos actually got it. He got it right the first time because he didn't need to play in that brilliant 6-1 win. He didn't have to play. He definitely should have played this one. I done the watch along with Chris for the 6-1 game, but that was absolutely brilliant. Morocco 100% deserved to go through, but I do feel sorry for Ronaldo. Obviously, that's probably the last time you're going to see him play top level football. Like it looks like that's him done. Like top level football. That's a shame. Obviously, for a football fan, whether you like him or you don't, he is still one of the best players of all time, regardless of your personal opinion. the fact that you're not going to see him play top level football anymore is a shame. But the way, obviously, the tears, you could tell some people were trolling him, saying they're not genuine. Those were genuine tears. He has been, he got fucked over not playing from playing in the off in that game. But they didn't have anything to respond. A lot of people are putting all the blame on Costa. Yes, Costa didn't have a great game. It's not all on him. Ruben Diaz has completely left him for dust. He's left him for slaughter, and it's like he's a young, inexperienced goalkeeper that I still rate. I still think he's a fantastic goalkeeper. This is his first international tournament. I think he's going to be great in Germany. Like for the Euros, I think he's going to have an even better Euros, more maturity as well, because he'll be like what 25. He'll be 25 as well going into the Euros. That says it all. Like by the time he gets to 2026 as well, like he's going to be 27, 28. He's going to be in that prime age as well. Like not even for a goalkeeper, but just for a footballer. He is going to keep getting better and better, but a lot of people are slandering him over the tournament. I'm not. I still like him. I think he's a fantastic goalkeeper. I feel sorry for him. I thought Rafa Leao didn't get enough really in the game as well. I thought João Felix's movement
basically frozen out. Leao for a
he
player
was
of his quality at AC Milan, who has been doing extremely well, in my opinion, in the Serie A. I don't have a clue why he was just
pissed me off.
Like
it pissed me off a lot. It pissed me off that he didn't get it.
The thing that just annoys the life out of me. Sorry to break in there, Reece. Why are you playing Bruno Fernandes right wing when you've got this sort of? I don't understand the midfield three. Why are you playing Bernardo Silva in midfield? Why are you shoving Bruno Fernandes out wide when we've seen so many times that it does not work? And for me, they just got it completely wrong. Ruben Neves, yes, he's a quality player, but I don't think he has the pace in particular to cope with how Morocco played.
I agree. Mateus Nunes was a miss.
It was terrible.
Not playing, I think he got the players right. He just got the wrong order. He should have had Fernandes in the midfield, Silva on the right wing. Silva's used to the wing. João Felix is brilliant as well, but he didn't have anything for that game as well. He did not get the service he needed. I thought the fullbacks were. I thought Dalot was particularly okay, but he was just not finding the service through. Nuno Mendes again. Why is he not getting? Why is he not getting opportunities? Antonio Silva had a fantastic game in the last round. He should have started.
Yeah.
Gonçalo Ramos, I thought he was going to have a good game. He didn't get any service at all, so I'm not putting any fault on him at all. But not playing Ronaldo's definitely cost him. Santos, he's still in the job, but there is rumours that he is actually going to walk away. If he walks away, you already know exactly who's going at that job, and if he gets the job, you can already say Portugal are going to win the Euros in Germany. Not the team I want to win, obviously. I want Germany to win it, but if Mourinho gets the Portugal job, Portugal are going to win Euro 2024, and I'm telling it now. And I am telling you now, December 12th, 2022, Portugal win Euro 2024 if Mourinho gets the job.
I completely agree. Doug, to touch on Cristiano Ronaldo once again, of course, everyone knows you're a Liverpool fan, and of course, have had some very, very, everyone knows Cristiano Ronaldo's relationship with Liverpool, of course, playing for Real Madrid, beating you in Champions League finals, of course, back, when was it, in 2018, I believe it was. Yeah,
yep.
That 2018 final. Sorry to remind you of that, but
scored a brilliant bullet header as well when he was at United the first time in the season when he hit 42 goals, but that's just a reminder.
But to lead on from that, a very fascinating stat that he's actually failed to score in all 8 of his knockout stage appearances in the World Cup.
Yeah.
The question is now, out of the World Cup, no club, what next for Cristiano Ronaldo?
Yeah, that's the sort of the big question, isn't it? It's very, very strange, I have to say. I was amazed they didn't start him against Morocco. I was amazed they didn't start him. But I think, if we're being honest, Gonçalo Ramos had a very, very good game against Switzerland, so you keep a winning side, keep winning formula. Where he goes next, I don't know. I think this Saudi Arabia move is a lot of rubbish. I don't think it's going to happen.
I hope not.
And I think if it does, he will lose all respect that I ever had for him, as well. Because I don't think Messi would ever do that. I think he's probably primed to move to the MLS. So I think, yeah. I've got to be honest. I thought Morocco were fabulous. I thought they set up really, really well. I am happy that Portugal are out, and I'll tell you why. The fact that Pepe and Bruno Fernandes came out and said, "Oh yeah, how can an Argentinian ref basically manage this game?" You had 90 minutes to win that game. You had 90 minutes of basically putting cross after cross after cross after cross after cross after cross. How many times did the Moroccan defence Amrabat, that left back, name goes for me. He was outstanding. I thought he was fantastic when he came in.
All those crosses, genuinely, and Andrew will laugh at this, but he knows I'm true. And actually, to be fair, you two will know exactly what I'm talking about. It reminds me of the Man United game when we hit 40 crosses.
Yeah.
Like genuinely under David Moyes. Yeah,
it was
game against Fulham.
On the
41 crosses.
It was actually Mazraoui.
Yeah, that's the player I was worried about. I said to Doug the other day, I was like, I really hope that he got into the team because obviously that injury, I was worried that he wasn't going to play for the rest of the tournament. But he's an outstanding player. He's brilliant.
Absolutely.
I think as well, the fact that Morocco are in the I think it's fabulous. I think it's a good underdog story about that. I do think though that I think Portugal played their own team. For me, Ruben Diaz, for as much as people like to compare him to Van Dijk, he is one of the most overrated defenders I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah,
I would have played Pepe and Antonio Silva personally.
Yeah. I don't understand why Antonio Silva didn't even get a sniff for a minute in this World Cup. But do you know what? Congratulations to Morocco. I think it's a fabulous, fabulous story. And I think next round against France, they've not been behind yet. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see because I think everybody is wanting the final to be Croatia Morocco. I think as well. I think everyone is wanting that final because basically that final would be a first time winner. And I think that would be the dream final. It might not be the most fantastic game. But well, yeah, you can say that, but how bad has Ruben Diaz been? Like I think Ruben Diaz has been worse. I think Ruben Diaz has been worse than Van Dijk. And no, honestly, Van Dijk has been poor. I won't say anything else different. But how often can you see the fact is that Portugal have gone out because of Ruben Diaz completely losing his man.
Yeah.
He left Costa for slaughter. He left him for slaughter. So I blame Diaz for that goal completely.
Absolutely.
Yeah, El Nesri scored a very, very good goal, but obviously just before I go, because obviously I will need to head off very, very shortly. I actually do think the final will be Morocco-Croatia.
I would like to see that, but I would like to see that. I just think you're going to get the impeded impact that Argentina, as they've been compared to throughout the tournament, they're playing like that team from '86, where they've got one world class, like elite player, and they've got 10 very good, hard working players around them. That player carrying them, and then you've got France with such amazing depth getting through. I think you're going to get France-Argentina, but I would not mind seeing Morocco versus Croatia because it's completely different. It's not something you get, but I don't know. I don't care who wins the World Cup final. I just want to see it being won without questionable decisions. I want them to actually get referees that actually give a shit, that actually know what they're doing. But we'll see. We'll see what happens for the rest of the tournament. But
yeah. I've got to go, but thank you very much for having me, and I'll speak to you later.
Good to see you, bud.
Thank you so much for coming on today, Doug. It's really appreciated. I'll see you next time.
See you later.
We can have you on again.
See you later. Cheers.
interesting. France wins, they got it won, Andrew reckons, and also 1986, the old man's favourite World Cup. But before we obviously remove ourselves from the World Cup section, Reece, who is your finalists and who are your early winners?
My early tournaments, I actually had Brazil to win the World Cup, but if anything now, it's just purely just enjoying the rest of the. It's just enjoying the rest of the tournament. My final four, who was it? I had Argentina, I had Brazil, I had Germany not to make it. I had Germany quarterfinals. There's other two. I think I might have had Spain, but I know for a fact I had the Netherlands. But obviously that changed. But to be honest, like I had Brazil just because of the. I just felt like it was going to happen, but they let me down. Either way, for the rest of the tournament, I don't really.
Interesting prediction, that, Andrew.
Yeah, I think Holland could have done it, but that's 3 times now they've played each other, and it's went to extra time, and Argentina have been victorious. Argentina cannot seem to beat Holland in 90 minutes. Holland just cannot seem to beat Argentina. Apart from that 98 game, like there's just nothing really has changed, but I'd like to see where they go now. I want to see them go back to the 4-3-3. I'm sick of seeing them play a back three. I want them to go back to what brought the Dutch to the dance. But in all honesty, I don't really care who wins it now. I just want to enjoy it without further controversy. I just want to enjoy the rest of the World Cup, and I don't care who wins. I really don't care.
I completely agree. Just to touch on mine quickly, my heart says Croatia Morocco final, but I think Argentina will get through against Croatia. For me, they're having the passion for obviously the sad news about Diego Maradona last year. I think that will power them through, and it is just written in the stars for me. But I can see Morocco actually beating France. I don't know why. I can just see France getting incredibly complacent in the final.
We did say that about Spain. We did say that about Spain as well.
We did. And look what obviously happened. Knocked out by Morocco. And then, of course, Morocco doing the double and getting Portugal out. Very, very interesting. Before I touch on the last section, Reece, SPFL. Any Rangers news? What's your expectation for the rest of the season? Can you? It's evident. I don't think you guys are going to pick Celtics to the title this year. However, where do you expect to go? Of course, Van Bronckhorst is now gone, replaced by Michael Beale. I think that's a great appointment in my eyes. Great to structure for the future. Well, when will we see the next league title, and where will Rangers go from here? Yes.
I would possibly say so as well in that question. But my goat retired a very long time ago. Just in general, regarding Rangers obviously played Bayer Leverkusen pre-season friendly. Good to see Florian Wirtz actually got back on the field for the first time since injury. So I was glad to see him play from a German perspective. Hopefully he gets back into the team for next year. But in terms of Rangers, 3-0. Should have been 4 if Tavernier hadn't hit the post. Organised really well, tactically as well, fluid football. I wasn't sure how he was going to assimilate to the job, but he's done really well since he's came in terms of getting structure and organisation. He's got a 41-year-old goalkeeper playing as a sweeper. Alan McGregor was coming out doing fucking headers, which says it all really. We actually delivered from a corner for a change.
That man's just going to go forever at this point, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I still think we need a younger goalkeeper to come in and properly challenged for the spot, but he got things organised. We are being linked with Ryan Porteous, the Hibs centre-back, 6'2", Hibs Youth Academy graduate, but it's good for us because it's a lot of injury concerns. We need a centre-back in January. I agree with you as much as it pains me to say I don't think we're going to win the league, but I actually do think we're going to retain the Scottish Cup. I think we have a good opportunity in this team to get things going. I think if we win the Scottish Cup, it will save the season, qualify for the Champions League. Obviously, we'll be in the playoffs, the playoff stage, like the qualifying rounds. But I'm okay with that. But the team is there. Ryan Kent needs to be sold. He's shit. Like we need to get Yanis Hadji fully back from injury, but Ryan Kent needs to go. When Gerrard was there, he was doing a little bit of ball hogging, but it wasn't as much. but it was still decisive in games. Now it's more after more after more, and he's becoming less effective. Where there's chances to pass, he doesn't take it, and we're immediately on the counter and we concede. He needs to get that changed. I would personally play Matondo. I think Matondo's brilliant. I don't know why Matondo was not in the Wales squad. I said to you as well when we done our predictions, he was one that I was annoyed by. Lawrence needs to play more involved in games.
I agree on that.
I also
Lawrence,
think
Lawrence on the right, Matondo on the left for me. For Rangers, there's your key ingredient.
And I would play, and I'm going to say this bold as well, even though he's been on fire in form, I would not have Čolak as my main striker, even though he's been fantastic.
Really?
I would honestly say play Tillman up front. He was brilliant against Bayer Leverkusen, and I actually think Rangers are going to sign him permanently from Bayern Munich. I think we will do everything we can to sign him permanently, and I don't think Bayern would oppose to it. Lots of things to go. I agree with that comment about Matondo. I think but for me,
no.
His pace is fantastic. He needs to be starting more. Lawrence needs to play. Tavernier had a good game, but I still think we need a long-term right back. We need to get a centre back in, and a goalkeeper needs to be looked at. The midfield base was very good. That midfield base was strong. It was fluid, passing the ball really well, dominating the possession high up the field. There's something to build from this team more tactically in terms with Michael Beale. He's got a different game plan. If plan A doesn't work, he has plan B. Van Bronckhorst done well winning the Scottish Cup, getting to the Europa League final, but he had no plan B, and that really reflects by how bad the season went. So all in all, I think it's a good start. We play Hibs on Thursday at Ibrox.
I believe it's on Sky, isn't it?
It is, yes. So I think he'll start the game. I think he'll start the game really well. Get the team high up the field. Get us playing the ball really quickly. Get at the pace as well. Get behind the back three. We do that, then there's something there. But all in all, I'm expecting a tight game because we had a very tight game against them at the start of the season. But I actually think we will beat them as well, coming in good form of that Bayer Leverkusen pre-season friendly. Yes, it's a pre-season friendly. It means jack shit. But for a new manager, even for a pre-season friendly, to start with a good result like that, it can give confidence. And I certainly think we need that. But there's some things that need to be ironed out. And one of them for me is definitely centre-back. And I hope Tillman is his main man and Čolak off the bench, but he needs Yanis Hadji. He needs Hadji back.
Yeah, the main question I have to you as well, Reece, is in particular with Rangers coming into January and for the important fixtures as well.
He's been told he'll be backed. He's been told he'll be backed, which is good.
Oh, that's good. Definitely. Like, look what he did at QPR, bringing them from the bottom area of the league straight up to the top. Give him time, give him patience. You'll get there. But this is what worries me with Rangers leading into the transfer window. So you're playing Hibernian on Thursday.
That's right.
Straight after next Thursday, you've got an away match at Pittsburgh versus Aberdeen. Then 3 days later, you're playing Ross County away.
Yep.
And then straight after that, a couple of days later after then,
the big one.
You're back at home again against Motherwell.
Yep.
What on earth is that fixture schedule? Like, that is massively going to cost you guys, I think.
Considering,
for example, Celtic, of course, you know.
And we do play Celtic in the New Year as well. It's a typical New Year fixture. We play Celtic. One thing that I hope he really does do well over these 4 games is, I don't think we're going to get 12 points, but he needs to get at least 10. If he can get 3 wins and a draw out of his first 4 games, I think that'd be great. But Aberdeen have always been a snakeskin. Motherwell are a bunch of idiots, but they'll try to defend as much as they can. We need to break them down. If we can break them down, we'll win the game. But I want him to use that squad really well. Make the changes when it matters. Rotate where necessary. But he has to set this team up where they will come out firing and hopefully get the game done quickly. It's not that I don't respect Hibs or I don't respect Aberdeen. We need to have that mentality where we want to come out, completely dominate the ball, dominate the possession, take our chances, be clinical, and get it over with so we can rest players as well where necessary. We need to have that approach because 4 games in the space of like 11 days is ridiculous. It's always been a problem up here. I've never liked that in any division. but it's reflection of where football is. Like some leagues treat them more respectfully. Italy, Spain, Germany, you get a proper break.
Yeah.
We will get a break at some point, but it's going to be very tight. But the good thing for us now is there's no European football. Same with Celtic, obviously, but
I think that'll help you guys a lot, to be honest.
We'll have less games to burn out.
Bronkhorst, I think it was a blessing in disguise, you guys going out the Champions League, considering some of the issues you have. And especially if you can get, for me, a rebuild is needed. Phase out the old legs, bring in the new. In particular, as you said, in the goalkeeping position, add a bit more strength and depth in the midfield as well. We'll give you guys a power of good. And then I'd say sort of go from there. Use my links across the youth system of, in particular, Chelsea. I think that will aid you guys well.
I think if we can get, I don't know if we'll get him in January, we might get him in the summer, but I think if we get Ryan Porteous, we've got a strong centre-back there to build on. If we can get maybe 2 or 3 strong signings in that will actually improve key positions, it's bold. We could win the title, but I still think we will fall short. But I don't think it's going to be a massive gap. I think it'll only be like 4 or 5 points in it. I don't think it'll be so big, but we really need to get. I agree with James on that one. We need to put a strong run together. I completely agree. Absolutely. We can't afford to slip up. And I hope he wins his first Old Firm derby as well, because that will really put the likes of Ange Postecoglou under pressure. See how he reacts as well.
Behind him as well. For me, as I've seen it with a fan supporting a manager in derbies, you win your first one as manager, the fans are behind you. Yeah,
and that will certainly test the limit as well of what you can do. But I'm not going to get too carried away because I know how bad we were at the start of the season. I'm just more interested in ending the season really well, hopefully win the Scottish Cup, and then get recruitment right in January and the summer so we can start building this squad. And I'm hoping Ryan Kent gets sold. I really hope he gets sold because I'm done with him.
Absolutely, yeah. For me, that's a good shout. Phase him out.
Yeah,
I've never rated him. Not great in the Championship. Get rid of him. Just our final topic of thought, and also another thing. Any questions you have that you want me and Reece to answer on the panel before we do go tonight, please stick them in the channel. Make sure to like, comment, Please make sure to like, comment, subscribe so you can support the channel and support Josh's channel as well. That'd be greatly appreciated. Wouldn't be a video on my channel or a live stream if we didn't talk about the Championship. Got to start with Cardiff City. What an absolute shambles it's been over the last few months. However, a 2-2 draw is something that we can't sniff about. A very tough place to go in the Bet365. Very cold. Didn't think it was the greatest performance. I thought we did just edge it as the greater team. However, lots of things need to be changed. Big few months coming up. Definitely off the pitch, as I've said many a time, needs to be sorted out. And to be honest, I think Hudson did the right job putting the team out. I did agree with it. However, going forwards, on my personal opinion, I do think we need to use 2 up front, definitely with Callum Robinson and Keanu Tete starting. What do you think about Cardiff City so far, and where on earth do we need to go from here?
We've asked that question a lot on the World of Football podcast for quite a while, and I'll be honest, I have no idea.
Completely agree.
I honestly just don't know, because there's so many issues there, and it's top down, but it's also on the field. You don't get the coaching right.
Yeah.
The players aren't responding to coaching. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know what you can do feasibly to save your season, and that's just being generally honest. I honestly don't know. You can't afford to lose further ground as well. Like on the around you and especially above you, you need to start getting results. And if you keep changing the system as well, that makes it even worse, because that means you're having to respond to a different style of play, a different system. The players might not respond or react in the way you want, and then it causes more aggro. I think you need to try and find some form of recruitment in January if you can. I don't know if you...
Apparently, I've heard from what, even though I find this absolutely astonishing, apparently Mark Hudson will not be backed in January. We have one potential player that we might get for the youth system, which just says it all really. Tan is putting nothing in.
If
And
you're
we could
getting-
be potentially still in a transfer embargo as well, which we have been in since, I think, at the end of 2020, which is just completely unacceptable.
If that's the case, then Jesus Christ, I was expecting those bots. If that's the case, then it's purely about Mark Hudson doing something completely opposite, and that's get as solid and defensive as possible.
Yeah.
Telling the players, right, we can't afford to play good football anymore. We have to be nervy, cagey, and try and sneak 1-0 wins as much as you can until towards the end of the season. Like you just have to do something. But if he isn't going to get backed, you may as well just get cagey. You may as well get cagey and hope something goes your way. But I don't know what I don't know what you can physically do. I honestly do not know.
Honestly, I don't blame you. I completely agree with pretty much all the comments there, Reece. Just looking at the situation that we are in now, we're currently 2 points away from the drop zone in 19th position. West Brom not showing too much either, but are starting to slowly turn it. Blackpool looking woeful, who we have to get a result out of this weekend. If we don't, then I can see, and it pains me to say it, I can see a relegation coming on the cards for us. At the end of the day, there's no relationship between us on and off the pitch. No fan forums have happened in years. There's complete disconnect there. This is the worst Cardiff City squad in a generation. Probably the worst I've ever seen personally for me as well. Huddersfield look dreadful. I think they'll stay down there. I can see West Brom rising. Wigan under Colo Touré are going to rise up, and so will Hull, which leaves us Huddersfield, Blackpool, Cardiff so far. Worrying times for us. Question is for you, Reece, will we stay up?
I think if you stay up and don't find some form of, I think if you stay up, then you need to find solid investment in the summer, because if you don't find that next season, you are definitely relegated.
Yeah.
If you cannot afford to get relegated, but if you do, it may get you an owner. It might not. These are just hypotheticals or theories. I do understand Lugolo's comment about Cardiff are too good to be relegated, but there are also teams in the Premier League that have had those exact words, too good to get relegated. Yeah. That phrase can only go around for so long before eventually the inevitable happens. Cardiff need to get you need serious investment fast, and it's clearly not going to happen. If Vincent Tann's not going to own you, then have that appreciation as an owner where he's going to invest, then I don't see what else you can do to force him out. He clearly doesn't care. But it's evident that serious investment is needed in the playing squad. Otherwise, you are physically going nowhere. Do I think you're staying up? Yes, but by the skin of your teeth. But if you don't get investment in the summer, you're getting relegated next season. And I will honestly say right now, you will finish rock bottom of the Championship next year.
I agree.
If you don't get investment.
If not, to be honest, this has been plaguing on my mind, and I've discussed it with a lot of other fans. We could potentially do it this season, finish bottom.
You could.
With the way it's going. And I think if Vincent Tan doesn't keep his mouth shut and then it does continue to get worse, like everyone knows how much of a car crash that interview was the other week. Divided the fans even more. I showed you guys the photos of what happened when he came down. It was not pretty. But at the end of the day, we just got to go from there. And if we do go down, then I'm not even going to say what's going to happen. But just to quickly touch upon a few clubs, Preston absolutely destroying Blackburn. Did not expect that with how good Blackburn have been this season. Preston, 6th in the table. Can we see them as potential promotion contenders or even reaching the playoffs?
Possibly, and I agree with James's comments as well. He's two teams I completely agree with. There's there's a few other teams I'd like to see Blackburn get promoted, but I don't know if that's going to happen. But I'm just thinking that is a serious comment. Like Preston, like they could be back in it again. Very unlucky at the end of last year not to do it. They could do it. I just don't know if they will. But they're fantastic performance. There's a lot running for them. Middlesbrough have got a lot to prove as well. I think both teams basically will be fighting for that playoff spot. I think both will be fighting for it, but I think one of them might fall short. I'm just not sure which one.
I completely agree. I think Preston are going to do it. First time since in donkey's years. Of course, never been in the Premier League. Ryan Lowe, really underrated manager. He was going to get Plymouth around there, playing great football, revolutionising them. I think they're just about going to do it. Same with Middlesbrough coming into Carrick. Disappointing under Wilder, but I think they've cracked it and they're going to start rising up there. Great run of form. Absolutely brilliant for me. However, top of the shop, Burnley. 3-0 victory against QPR. Another 3-0 against Blackburn. They're beating the sides that they need to. Doing extremely well. I thought they were going to finish just in or maybe even outside of the playoffs. But Kompany revolutionised the club, changed the style of play, brought a new philosophy in. Boy, has he done a good job. And if they go up, I think they will do comfortably in the Premier League.
They could too. I mean, it'd be interesting to see what they do. They would need to invest, obviously, in players that would keep them in, that fit the style, that keep them in the Premier League. But they could. The company's done a very good job. The system change as well has been excellent. It's just if they can maintain it, but it's not a bad prediction, to be fair. Especially under Kompany right now, he's done a very good job. I don't disagree.
Fantastic. If there's any other questions, guys, get it in the chat. But apart from that, we will begin to round it up at the 1 minute 26 and 16 second mark. Wow, that was very precise. So first of all, thank you so much for everyone who was tuned in tonight. Bit unplanned. Obviously, we only put it in about an hour ago. Hope you get well soon, Josh. Can't wait to have the World of Football podcast back on your channel. And a massive thank you to Douglas, who did pop in on the channel at a very last minute. Hope you're having a good one on your podcast at the moment. Can't wait to have it back. So, Reece, what's coming up on the channel? What are you most looking forward to? And before we do answer that question, because mine is no. I just think looking at the squad and everyone around them, I think they just about won't have enough. But it pains me to say they're building something.
Not this year, next year. I think next year they'll finish in the best of the rest in terms of the playoff positions. They'll fall short of automatic promotion, but they'll be in that position if they can keep things as they are. I like what they're doing, to be fair. That's testament to that. In terms of my channel, obviously, I'm actually going to go and continue streaming the Ancelotti series. Obviously, last night was hilarious.
Let's check it out, guys.
Yeah, lost the first 5 games, which is unheard of. And then after that, one sneaky draw, and I've won 12 games on the bounce. So what can I say? A 4-2-3-1 is better than a back 3. So get over there on my channel, Devil's Rising, which is right there. And I'm going live around about 9:30. I might be doing another World Cup watch along this week as well. I'm on Leicester Till I Die tomorrow. No, not tomorrow. No, I'm on Sunday, actually. I'm doing the World Cup final. I do have my wrestling podcast on the weekly Armchair Sports Talk on Saturday. We also have the World of Football podcast quiz on Saturday, which is number 3. Will Nathan retain his title? We'll find out. Nice. I certainly think he's got a good chance, but Doug's there. We've got a big lineup for that. All the panelists from last month's quiz are taking part. Big quiz for that. Nathan's currently defending champion, although Doug wasn't really there, so Doug's got a bit of words to say. But there's a lot.
Will come back, definitely.
There's a lot riding on that one. But I'm looking forward to it. It's not over 130 this time. It's only going to be about 80 or 90. So it'll be less than the last one, but big quiz coming. It's my second quiz because I've got the weekly Steelchair podcast quiz on Saturday as well. I'm doing that. So 2 big quizzes I need to prepare for Saturday. They're both nearly finished. And a couple of streams on my channel as well. We'll see how it goes. But apart from that, thanks for having me on. It was a good laugh. And roll on the next one. Obviously, it was the first time I've been on your channel as well, actually.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I don't usually do too many of these guest channels, but it's actually been very enjoyable tonight, especially in a very I wanted to get something up tonight, in particular, a very, very busy time. As you can see, there hasn't been too many uploads on the channel.
Well and truly.
Just have had no time at the moment, but
Course.
hopefully I'll be able to ramp it back up. Of course, the Cardiff City vlogs should be returning soon as well. And who knows what else I might bring.
You're still joining us Saturday for the quiz. You're still joining us.
I will need to double check something. I'll speak to you after in the private room.
That's fine.
I honestly hope I'll be there. But apart from that, guys, like, comment, subscribe. Do what you can, support the channel. That'd be greatly appreciated. Subscribe to Josh. Subscribe to Reece. Subscribe to Mr. Douglas James Horne on the Dugout Football channel. And I will see you all next time. Have a good week, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Au revoir.